Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So before we get started, just please ignore my ugly backdrop because I'm trying to work with backdrops and they are hard. They're really hard to do it by yourself. So yes, I have wrinkles all over and it looks like crap to me. Yeah, I just had to point that out really quick before we got started. I'm working on it. So today I wanted to do just a really quick video on how to get a flawless base when it comes to your face. Okay, so we're just going to talk about how to basically get your face looking good. So we're going to kind of skip over like the eyes and stuff like that and the lips. We're just going to focus on this big area right here. Everything from primer to foundation to bronzer, blush, just how to get it all looking good, how to get it even. So I'm gonna try to really talk about how to highlight, you know, some features, how to blend out your foundation to where it looks flawless, to where it's not cakey, to where it's like you don't feel like you can come up to someone and just literally pull off their face because it looks so cakey and thick. We don't want that. We want a flawless face, but we don't want cakey. So if you're interested on seeing how I do my foundation routine, my base face routine, and how you can go from looking like this to this, then just keep watching. Okay, so first we're gonna get this hair off my face, out of my face, because I cannot stand to do my makeup with my hair touching my face. I don't see how some of these people on YouTube just leave their hair down and even in front of their shoulders like this, and they're sitting there trying to put their base on, like, ugh. Okay, so people may get tired of hearing this, but it's really important, and I've noticed a huge difference when I do this and versus when I don't do this, and that's prepping your skin. Not talking just about primers. It's talking about moisturizing your face. Whether you're oily, dry, combo, normal, you need to moisturize your face. You need to make sure that's nice and hydrated so your base, your foundations, your powders, everything will layer very even and make your skin look more smooth and flawless. So what I've been using lately is the HENRIKSON C-Rush Brightening Gel Cream. And then what I also use underneath my eyes to help prep for concealer is the Banana Bright Eye Cream. And I have noticed a huge difference in my skin from using this. It feels just soft. It doesn't, my skin's not really textured-y, so I know some people are gonna come at me for that saying, oh, you don't even have acne, but I can tell a difference when my face just feels a little rougher versus when it's not. So if your face feels rough, you need to take that in consideration. If you don't take care of your skin, then your makeup is not going to look as flawless as it could be. If that makes sense. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, and a lot of people don't like spending money on skincare, but it is so important, and I've definitely come to understand that the older I've gotten. So of course I always, you know, have germ soap sitting beside me before I touch my face with makeup because I don't want any breakouts. So the first thing I'm gonna do, prime my skin. Now I've got two primers here that I've been going back and forth. If you are a stickler for SPF, then the Master Prime by Maybelline, it has SPF 30. This is amazing. The primer I'm using right now is one I've reached for a ton of times. I'm not gonna be really out in the sun today, so I'm not worried about SPF today. This is the ColourPop All-Star Matte Blur Primer. But anyway, since my lights are just blasting this out because I have yet to figure out the perfect lighting, really does a great job. It's cheap. I will list the price and a better picture of it right up here somewhere. But I always go in with, lately, always been going in with one of these two things, and they're both drugstore priced. So after we've got our skin primed, I'm gonna go in with a pore primer. Now I always use two primers, and some people may think that's a little like extreme, but if you want a flawless face, this is what you gotta do. And if you suffer from enlarged pores, then this is definitely a necessity. So what I am doing is just taking this Benefit Professional Pore Primer and I'm putting it right all over my cheeks, just this middle area where I do tend to have larger pores where that foundation does sink in. I have just found that a pore primer is the best way to ensure everything looks smooth and it doesn't sink into them, because you don't want your foundation sinking into these little holes on your face because that's just going to cause more breakouts. If you don't have pores, if you're a 14, 16, 20-year-old with amazing skin, you could probably skip this step. So if you've got pores like I do, definitely get you a pore primer. I really love the Benefit Professional. Now that we got our face all prepped, we've got our moisturizer, we've got our primers on, now we're actually going to move into our base. I'm gonna grab the Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. I did a review on this last year. It's still one of my, you know, top go-tos. I pretty much always put my foundation on with a Beauty Blender damp sponge. I've got all different kinds. I use the Morphe ones. I love one from Maybelline, but those are dirty, and this was, you know, in my clean sponge pile. This is just an actual Beauty Blender, but trust me, you don't need to go out and spend 20 bucks on one of these. Get a cheaper one that works just as good. This is just one of the clean ones I had today. And Pretty Fair, this is in porcelain, which is 110. Sometimes I mix porcelain and classic ivory 120 to give me that perfect shade. I'm just pumping just a couple of drops on the back of my hand. I always warm my foundation up just a little bit, just to kind of help it blend out. Ooh, need to add just a little bit of that other color. It looks really white. I'm not gonna use the rest of that on my hand because that would really like cake up my face, and I really don't want that. So I'm just gonna squirt another little pump right on the back of classic ivory. Sometimes I have to mix foundations. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, yeah. So once I mix these two, I should be able to get my perfect shade. You know what? This foundation is only like $11, $10, so I don't mind buying two because it's 20 bucks to buy two, and sometimes I just use one or the other, or sometimes I can mix, and I still have spent way less than, you know, a $40, $50 foundation. So now I'm just kind of pouncing that into my skin. When I say pouncing, I'm not dragging. That is the biggest thing I can tell people when they're applying their foundation with a sponge. I just find with a beauty blender, with a sponge, you get the most flawless results. You're pushing it into your skin. You're not taking a brush and just smearing it all over to where it kind of looks streaky. Some people like to go underneath their eyes with foundation. I don't want to cake up underneath my eyes because I do have wrinkles. I am 30, so it's not, you know, tight and smooth like, you know, a 20-year-old's. But I don't want to layer a whole lot of product underneath there. So I just keep the eye area blank, and then I use my concealer to help with that. I always bring it down my neck just a little bit. Sometimes we can't get it perfect, so if you do bring it down your neck just a little bit, it definitely helps. I'm gonna move my lights because I look like a dang ghost. That is a little better. Now that we have our face on, I'm going to go straight in with concealer. Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. It looks just like this. It's my absolute new favorite. I used to use Shape Tape from Tarte, but I find this concealer is not as drying underneath my eyes. So if you have more on the drier under eye area, definitely check this out if you want some coverage also. I am in the shade Snow right now, and when you use your concealer, you always want it to be 1 to 2 to 3, depending on how bright you like your under eyes and stuff, shades lighter than your foundation. You don't want to have the same color foundation, same color concealer, because I mean, it kind of does like no good there. This is the highlighting portion. I'm not really concealing because I really don't have anything to conceal. I don't have any bumps or crazy spots right in this area. So I'm just highlighting these areas on my forehead. I'm gonna go ahead and blend these out. So we've got that area blended out. It's kind of hard to tell, like I said, right now. Once we get everything put on, it'll come together. So now I'm just taking a little bit of concealer. I'm gonna put definitely some, get in your little craters, these little dark holes some people tend to have in their inner corners, and I'm just going to bring it down. I'm not going to pack a bunch of concealer. I used to think that I had to do the huge triangles, you know. I really I don't do that anymore, like I said, because I don't like to cake a lot of product underneath my eyes because I don't want it to look cakey. You can do differently. For me, with mature skin, since I am 30, I have 3 kids, you know, I don't get much sleep at night, I got wrinkles. Before I even blend this out, I'm gonna get my powder and put it in here because I'm gonna get that thing ready to go so I can put that on as soon as I get done blending this out. So again, I'm just pouncing, I'm not dragging, I'm not swiping underneath my eyes. And I like to blend a little bit down and then go right underneath my eyes. I don't like to just pack a bunch of product right underneath there. I like to kind of work it up under, if that makes sense. And then I always put concealer on my eyes because they're so like veiny and purple and tired looking, and it just brightens it up. I don't buy an extra thing, extra product just to help my shadows less. I think concealer works amazing. And then you can set it with some powder and you're good to go. Now, of course, this is my skin and, you know, client skin that I found I've done. But I guess if you have super oily eyelids, maybe an eye primer works better. I don't know. I kind of just feel like they're a waste of money. I'm going to take my powder, which is the Too Faced Born This Way setting powder, and set my under eyes. I have found this is like one of the best setting powders of all the ones I've tried. I love trying foundations and setting powders. I will try anything and everything, but I'm always disappointed in setting powders in saying that. Just find that this setting powder has worked the best of anything I've ever used. And I apply it right over my eyelid to set those eyelids because they will crease. You just put a cream product on. In areas that have wrinkles like eyelids and under eyes, you need to set it. Since this foundation is very mattifying and it's not really like a dewy type of foundation, I'm not going to set my whole face with powder. If you are super matte, go ahead and do this. I'm not matte. I'm not oily, so I don't have to set my entire face. But one place where I do some extra setting is my smile lines, which are right here. So I'm just going to powder those, and I'm going to powder where I put that concealer to. I'm going to take a little bit extra powder, and I'm going to bake my smile lines. Now this foundation does a really good job of just not really settling as bad, but I always do this just in case. Yes.
You're doing. I figured you've been shooting.
I know I look super crazy, but that's another thing of why I love using a beauty blender, is because I can use this with my foundation, I can use this with my concealer, I can use this with my powders. And when I use a beauty blender, I just squeeze it underneath the water, let it kind of get bigger, and then just wring it out. Don't use it like when it's sobbing wet. Just wring it out. Love, love, love that tool. You can eliminate a lot of extra brushes if you just get a good beauty blender, beauty sponge. I'm gonna let those bake. Now we're going to put some color back into my face. Lately, I've been going in with the Marc Jacobs Tantastic Coconut Bronzer. It comes in a big old white thing. It looks like this. You get a lot of product, you really do. This is a very expensive product, so don't feel like you need to go out and buy this bronzer. There's a lot of good bronzers that you can use. One of my absolute favorites from the drugstore that I still use all the time is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. It looks just like this. This has got a beautiful color. It's not orange. It goes on very easy, and it lasts on my skin all day. I'm going to take a big bronzing brush. This is a Morphe R2, and I'm just gonna go in and start bronzing my face. Now we're keeping this face very simple, you guys. We're not going to be doing any crazy contouring or anything like that. See what a difference that already made? And I'm just going to start working it up on my forehead. And then I'm going to take a little bit, of course, on my temples. And since this is a very good bronzer for light to medium skin tones, I don't feel like I can overdo it with this. So that's a good thing. I don't like dipping into bronzers and putting it on my face and be like, oh crap, that looks like I just put a whole lot of mud on my face, or it's too dark, too orangey. I like that you can kind of go in and build it up. And this is just going to bring some color back to your face, as you can see. Another thing that I like to do, some people may call this contouring. You don't have to do this, but I always do. I just like a little bit of color on the sides of my nose just to give it some shape. So yes, I am contouring, but I'm contouring with a bronzing powder, so it's not like full-on contouring. But I'm not doing any precise technique. I'm just literally taking a fluffy eyeshadow brush, dipping it into that same bronzer, and just kind of going on the sides of my nose. Because I do feel like I kind of have a big nose. I don't know if you can see the difference. I can already see a difference. It puts just a little bit of shadow right there. And this is, like I said, a really good color. So you don't have to worry about, you know, looking like you have an orange nose when you do this. I know I said I'm not going to do any eyeshadow, but this is what I do on a daily. This is what I consider my everyday fresh face routine. I may switch up products, different foundations and stuff, but as far as the order and how I apply it, this is what I do. I'm just gonna add just a little bronzer into my crease just to warm it up so I don't look like I have super pale eyes. I never, never, never leave those blank. But you can do whatever eye look you want to do, of course. And now we're going to go in with blush. I always do bronzer first and then I put a little blush on. Some people hate blush. I have to have it. I kind of do. You could just leave it like this and you would be fine. You really would. But I'm going to go in with my favorite blush palette of life, you guys. If you aren't good at picking out blushes and buying blushes, get you a palette of blushes so you have different options. This is the Morphe 8W blush palette. It has got a lot of pretty warm tones. I'm more of a warm tone blush girl. Take a Morphe E4 blush. This is not technically a blush brush, but I use it for my blush. And it just looks kind of like this. It's got a little tapered shape to it. I feel like it applies it nicely. It's not too fat. I don't want a big blush brush because I don't want, you know. First, I'm going to just kind of dab into these two colors. This one is called MUA and Unapologetic. And these are just some nice warmer brown tones. And I just mix those back and forth. Always tap off the excess because these are pigmented palettes. Get it on those apples. And I always kind of like drag it up just a little bit, just so it's not like it's just a harsh line that stops right there. It kind of just feathers up. And then whatever's left on my, you know, brush, I just kind of like feather it onto the temples a little bit. I don't know why. I just do it. I want a little shine on my cheeks. So as you can see, that did a little bit extra color versus just the bronzer. So I'm going to take a little bit of, let's see, what do I want to go with? Let's go in with Witty, and it's got just a little bit of shimmer to it. Some people like matte blushes. If you've got a lot of texture on your skin, matte blushes are probably better for you because anything with shimmer or shine, it's going to, I'm sorry, my voice is great. Anything with shimmer or shine is going to show more texture. So if you do have a lot of problems with pimples and acne and just uneven skin right here, you could probably just stick with a matte blush and it would look good. I feel like I said this is a quick video, but I kind of feel like I have to explain a little bit. I just feel like explaining maybe helps you guys out just a little bit more. It's so much better than just having your face just all one shade. Right here, just with the foundation concealer without any bronzers and blush versus now. And you can just see how that's coming together. I'm just taking a fluffy brush that's actually broke, but I really love this one. And just dusting away that powder where I was baking my smile lines. Now, the next thing that I normally would do is move on to my brows and eyes, but we're gonna skip that just so we're not keeping this video super long. But I will have a video of a really simple eye routine coming up next, so make sure you check that out. So now for highlighter, I've got two options for you. I've got a high end and a low end. They're both beautiful. I'll swatch them and show you. This is the DESI X KATY Fuego highlight from DESI Colors. I wasn't really thrilled about this at first, but then I started seeing it in pictures and in different lightings versus just my bathroom light, and I fell in love with it. It's really got a beautiful glow that's not too overpowering. Sometimes I can get a little crazy with highlights, but you know, it's winter time. It's not really summer to where you're like, ooh, glowy skin. So I'm trying not to overdo it. And then the other highlight that I really, really love, it's kind of like a Maybelline day with drugstores, is the Maybelline Master Chrome Metallic Highlight in Molten Gold. They do have lighter shades of this highlight if you are a little bit more fair-skinned. I find this is more of a champagne-y gold. It's not too in-your-face gold on your cheek. But I am going in with my DESI Colors. I spent money on this, so I'm gonna use it. I gotta use it. I'm taking a ColourPop brush. This came in their brush set. I just love this brush for highlighting purposes, but you can use, I mean, heck guys, you could even use just an eyeshadow fluffy brush. This is what I did when I started out makeup. I just used a fluffy eyeshadow brush and then I just did my highlight with this. Just play around with your brushes. If you don't have the extra cash to go buy extra brushes, a brush just for highlighting, try it on your beauty blender. There's a lot of people that do this with a beauty blender as well, but I'm gonna use this brush, just dipping into that. And then I kind of do the same thing like I do with my blush. I kind of feather it up, but then I kind of take it around up towards the temple eye area. This puts a beautiful soft glow It's not chunky, glittery, or anything like that. And then I love to put this underneath my brow bone, on my temples, on my nose, on my Cupid's bow, just to kind of connect that highlighter so it's just not like a strip here and a strip there. Just a little bit. Don't look at my eyes. Sometimes they cross when I do this. I don't want to go in too crazy on my nose. Just a little bit, so it's not too flat looking. And then kind of, I don't really dip in a whole lot, just with whatever's extra on my brush. I just kind of like feather it over the temples just to bring a little light right there. You know, when the sun, you're outside and it hits and it's kind of like, woo, beaming. Always right here on the Cupid's bow, which I cover half of that up when I overline my lips, so it peeks out a little bit. So it makes me feel better that I'm doing this. So that's pretty much it for the face routine. This is the time when you can go in and do your brows, your eyeshadow, your mascara. So I'm going to do that, and your lips, of course. I'm going to do that really quick, and then we'll be right back to show you the final result of how everything looks together. I just freaking say all that and forget to press record. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. I got my eyes done. I put on some lips to show you guys how it all came together. All we have left to do on our face is just to set it. I recommend a setting spray for everyone, whether you're oily or not. It just helps your makeup last longer. It just ensures it, because you never know, stuff happens during the day, and this will just lock it in place. This is the ColourPop All-Star setting spray. It kind of goes hand in hand with their primer. Missed that on my face. And this has got a pretty powerful pump. That's why I don't hold it super close and just kind of let it drench me. It takes a minute or two to dry, and you are good to go. You are set for the rest of the day. Honestly, wasn't going to do an eye look. I was going to keep it very simple with this foundation face routine, but I had to film a video using the Friendcation palette from the Dose of Colors Desi X Katy collab. Just did a video using this palette on a super, super easy eyeshadow look. Beginner friendly if you're struggling with eyeshadows. Definitely check out this next video. It's going to be coming after this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for coming back to my channel, watching my videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave. I also have my Instagram link down below as well, so you can check out fun other little quick makeup tutorials and hair tutorials on that as well. I hope you guys have a great day, a wonderful week, and I will see you in my next one.